My father-in-law told everyone I was faking. My surgeon happened to be at the same party. I have an autoimmune condition that affects my joints and energy in ways that are genuinely unpredictable and invisible to anyone not paying close attention. On a good day, I'm functional and present. On a bad day, I cancel things, which looks to people who've decided to interpret it that way, like avoidance dressed up as medical necessity. My father-in-law Renner had decided to interpret it that way, approximately 6 months into my marriage to his son, Eli. Renner had built his identity around physical robustness, worked outdoors his entire career, prided himself on never taking a sick day, and regarded the medical establishment with the suspicion of someone who had never personally needed it. My condition offended something in his worldview. He began with quiet skepticism, comments at family dinners about the remarkable coincidence of my symptoms arriving during occasions I might prefer to avoid, observations about someone who had received a similar diagnosis and cured herself through attitude adjustment. These were delivered with the warmth of someone offering useful perspective and received by me with the patience of someone managing a condition genuinely worsened by stress. Eli spoke to his father twice. The second conversation produced a more carefully worded version of the same commentary. By year 2, the situation had reached a stable but unresolved equilibrium we had all tacitly agreed to maintain. The party was a milestone birthday for Renner's longtime colleague, 60 guests, serious catering. Eli and I attended because not attending would have cost more energy than going. I was having a moderate symptom day. Present, functional, managing. Renner found his rhythm about an hour in. I wasn't in the room when it started, but Eli was, and he told me afterward with the expression of someone who hadn't quite believed what he was watching. Renner had delivered what Eli described as a comprehensive account of his theory about my condition to a group of 4 guests. The word psychosomatic was used. The phrase "she's learned that being sick gets her out of things" was used. The guests received this with the uncomfortable laughter of people unsure whether they were being invited to agree or to witness. I walked in as it was concluding. I caught enough to understand the shape of it. I looked at Eli. He looked at me with an apology that was genuine and insufficient. The woman standing nearest to Renner turned toward me. She had the specific stillness I've learned to associate with people professionally accustomed to assessing situations quickly and responding to what they actually find. She introduced herself. She was a rheumatologist senior, it emerged, holding a position at a teaching hospital Eli later confirmed was among the most respected in the country for autoimmune research. She had heard the latter part of the conversation and asked, directly but without aggression, whether I was the patient being discussed. I said I was. She asked the name of my condition. I told her. She nodded in the way of someone for whom this lands professionally rather than socially. Then she turned to Renner and said, with a precision I have replayed many times since, that she had spent 30 years treating this condition, and that its presentation was neither psychosomatic nor volitional, and that the suggestion I was fabricating symptoms reflected a misunderstanding she would be pleased to address if he was genuinely interested in being better informed. Renner produced a sound that was not quite a word. She then asked about my care and whether I had access to specialists in the autoimmune aspects specifically. We spoke for 11 minutes. She gave me her card and said her department had a patient pathway worth exploring. I thanked her. I meant it with a completeness the social context didn't allow me to fully express. Renner left earlier than expected. The following week, Eli had the most direct conversation they'd managed on the subject, one that produced, for the first time, something resembling genuine reception. Renner has not made a comment about my condition since. Not a modified one. Nothing. The silence isn't warm, but it's real, and after 2 years of the alternative, it's a form of peace I've decided to accept, without requiring it to be more. I contacted the rheumatologist department the following month. The care has been meaningfully better than what I'd previously accessed. I think about the geometry of that evening occasionally. 60 people. One rheumatologist in the right place at the right moment. Chronic illness involves a great deal of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. That evening was the exception. I've decided to be grateful for it without questioning the odds too carefully.